All right, welcome back to Game Pass, pals. And it's time to talk about something I've been excited for a while, Psychonauts 2.
We need to
Yeah.
introduce ourselves first.
Yep, I'm Jovine.
I'm Sesamo.
And I'm the pepperonis in the crust.
And this is gonna be a good time. This is a big old game, so I'm not sure how long it's gonna take for us to get through it. But let's go ahead and just start with how overall you guys are feeling about this game. No spoilers or anything, but like on a scale of not even a scale. Scales are stupid. Would you recommend this to people? Would you go out of your way to say, "Hey, I think you should play this game," or not?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good game.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
I think for anybody who enjoys 3D platformers, this probably should be at probably upper part of your list. Like, you should play this game, full stop.
Although, should you play this or Psychonauts 1 first?
Man, Psychonauts 1. Yeah, if you have Game Pass, play 1 first, but like you don't need to.
Yeah.
Has 1 aged well? I actually have not played it recently.
I played it recently. I thought it aged pretty well.
That's good. I know it's not the prettiest game out there nowadays, but also like because of the way stylization was for it, it's not like it's a big bad thing to play it still. Like it actually looks pretty okay. The controls I know were a little broken, but I know when they did, this is the weird thing. They re-released the game for a different console than they originally made it for and started fixing bugs. Specifically, I know that was true for the PC port. So I'm wondering if it's like a lot better because of that too. My guess is yeah, so I would definitely recommend for most people. If you want a ton of good game, just play Psychonauts 1 and Psychonauts 2. It's tons of hours of fun anyways.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think Psychonauts 1 held up well. And if you're playing an old game and expecting it to look fabulous, then you're doing it wrong, and please make better decisions.
For sure. But
all my games must be absolutely flawless.
Man, you must not get to play a lot of games.
I'm gonna have to ask you to remove that pepperoni for the crust, because that's not very pepperoni in the crust of you.
Okay.
Now you're just crust.
No.
Pepperoni outside the crust?
I'll be the wizard again.
That is also fair. But yeah,
I'm back to being the wizard. Hello, everyone.
The generic thing for that is probably... Sorry. The generic thing for that is probably... If you enjoy 3D platformers, this is probably one of the best ones out there. I can't think of a lot not like... I love the writing, the humor, and especially the way there's, growth between 1 and 2 because of the gigantic amount of time between writing them and creating the games.
Yeah.
True.
I wish... Did you play through the VR one, Jovine?
I think I'm the only one who did. Like, in the world. Nobody else played that game.
True.
Just you.
That's just me.
That's just true.
Checked out.
It's a good game. You don't need to play it, but like it's actually kind of fun. It's like an hour long, really. But the irony is, I think the original version of it was a PlayStation exclusive too. And here we are with Double Fine being owned by Microsoft now.
Yeah, I think it was like PSVR exclusive or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Like, not only did you have to have a PlayStation, you had to have the PlayStation VR as well.
Yeah. So I recommend playing it. It actually, they do tie it in. It does take place exactly before Psychonauts 2.
Yeah,
so
like literally it ends seconds before 2 picks back up. So,
but the kicker is I think they just reintroduce all of those things. Like they literally just do them again.
Which is good.
Yeah, because the majority of people didn't play it, but it's also on Steam now. So if you have VR and you want to play a Psychonauts themed VR game, it's a good game. But good game. It's not free, and it's like an hour long.
I demand all my games to be free as well.
Free and bug free.
Yeah, that one's acceptable.
Free and perfect.
That one's acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can either have free or perfect.
Not both.
Neither. But not both.
That little pie chart.
let's maybe talk about like our approaches to the game, because like I did not 100% the game, and I didn't really do much extra as well. How about the rest of you?
Quick question: are we going to go into spoiler zone, or are we still staying out of the spoiler zone for now?
Do you want to answer this question as if it was a spoiler zone?
I don't think so. I think it's good. I 100% of this game because it's part of my like childhood and my top games ever. So I was dedicated towards doing that. I think that's all I need to say at the start.
I don't remember. I think I did 100% this game. But I went with the like I'm not gonna worry too hard about it. I'm gonna try and do all try all this stuff, and if it leads to 100%, yes. And I think at the very end I was like short some collectibles, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And then they released an update which made it easier to find collectibles. So I was like, well, might as well finish it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I will say I 100%ed it week 1. I pity anybody else who did that, as that update is so good. Thank God they made that update, because it actually makes 100%ing not miserable. Back when I did it, you had to like count specific characters to figure out what thing you were missing, because it doesn't tell you what you're missing at all. And then you have to go find a guide that's also happened to find all of the information, because it wasn't like there was like no written guide, right? So like somebody else had to actually find it and then record where every single one of them was. It was awful.
Yeah.
But I think like if you enjoy collecting everything, it's so much better. This is how games should be, by the way. Not the original way. The way they updated it to should have been how they released it.
Yes.
So don't feel bad for not doing it the original way. It's garbage. Don't do it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't 100% Psychonauts, and I don't think I ever plan on it.
Yeah. Wizard, did you have anything you wanted to say about it being 100% versus any percent?
So, I don't think I would have necessarily enjoyed doing the 100%. The weird part is there's no real reason to 100% it outside of like wanting to, because a lot of it feels kind of grindy, and like, what are the rewards? The rewards are getting stuff that makes it easier to get the 100%. So it's kind of awkward in that case. A lot of games are like that though, so it's not specifically Psychonauts 2.
I'm not sure grindy is the right word for that, but it's definitely lengthy. And also technically the reward isn't it's more the approach that I think is the correct one. When you get 100%, you essentially get a cheat code to turn everything on 0 time. Like all of your cooldowns go away. That's essentially the 100% reward.
I just don't feel like that's like it's weird, because at that point you have everything and there's nothing really left to do. Like, what do you actually you're gonna mess around with that for like 5 seconds and then be done?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's kind of the trick with most games is like usually the reward is, hey, I 100%ed it and I'm really proud that I 100%ed it. Like that's the original rewards for most games.
Yeah, which is fine and cool.
It's more like I don't mind them adding like a little cheat code sandboxy thing just for funny of like to be honest, for a speedrunner, it's god tier, because now all of a sudden I can test a ton of things much easier. I kind of wish that was just baseline something everybody could get in most games, but you know, at the same time, a lot of people who are going to learn and try to tear apart speedrun games are going to complete 100% of the game first too. So it's a cool feature to me. I also don't consider that a spoiler, because it literally tells you that that's a thing you can get right at the start of the game. It just doesn't
like a thing you can buy. Yeah.
It doesn't tell you that, oh, by the way, the only way to get this is to actually 100% it, but it is there.
It's there, and it seems pretty obvious that it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to 100% or get very close to it at the very least. So
yeah, technically there's some other like things that you do get that are kind of cool along the way, but since you don't have to get everything to 100% to get those prizes, I would say that they're whatever. Like for example, completing all of the things where you're finding objects that are hidden out in the world, scavenger hunts.
Yes.
I'm not going to spoil what that is, the prize is right now, but like that's another good example of something you get that's cool, but also like you very easily could just skip it the whole game and not feel bad.
I got like 2 or 3 of those. I didn't finish it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my general approach to the game was, uh, if I'm not just gonna go collect all the figments because they're there and near me. Uh,
Mhm.
if it looks like a cool or interesting platforming challenge, then I'll go do it, because a lot of the like if you're just like doing the main story and nothing else, it's a relatively easy game, and which is totally fine. I
Yeah.
think that's a good way of
Mhm.
doing it. In fact, uh, so anything that was like, oh yeah, this looks like an interesting like environment to go to, or like uh I'm gonna try out a weird thing here, or this is a cool platforming challenge. I was like, cool, yeah, great. And then the rest of it was like, okay, I don't feel the need to kind of use my
Spend time on it.
time to
Yeah.
do this. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
you. And I do think like a lot of that's also like I like that that's true because we all have different interests and wants in games too. Like for me, I'm a big collectathon nerd. I love getting 100%. I love getting things that really don't matter other than getting that number completed. And I think it's nice that I can do that for this game, but also you have the opportunity of playing through the game and just really enjoying the story and not worrying about it. Even to the point where they have accessibility features to essentially remove the combat sections, which we'll talk about that all probably a little bit more later, but like I think it's nice that
Yeah.
all of those are in this game too. Really, I feel like if you just want to get to explore the story, there's options there for you and don't feel like you're ever going to be
Mhm.
bogged down by all the different things you can do because you don't have to do them.
Trailer
Yeah.
that just demonstrated my favorite part about the game, which is burning things.
I get you.
Burning
The
things is great.
pyrokinesis is definitely a really really cool little
It's a
thing.
cool but largely worthless power.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really fun. I spent a lot of my time just burning as much as possible.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I will also say though, I didn't love the controls for this game. A lot of it was nice, but the fact that they very clearly wanted you to be they very clearly developed for Xbox first, which is fine. I get it. You're owned by Microsoft. But man, saying that I can never have equipped more than 4 powers when you have what, like 8 or 10? Man, that was infuriating on PC.
You played on a keyboard and mouse?
Yeah, I played keyboard and mouse. I
I
believe
did controller.
controller, and you were actually on the Xbox. And then
Yes.
with did you play controller, Wizard
Yeah, I
on
play
PC?
controller on PC,
Okay,
so we
perfect.
have everyone represented.
Yeah. It was just
Hey.
don't get me wrong, I would jump between the two. Like that was one of the things that's really like some things I enjoy better on mouse and keyboard and some things I enjoy better on controller. So like when there were like really tight platforming sections, weirdly enough, most people would be like, keyboard time. And I'm like, no, I prefer the controller just because it's what I've used for so long.
Yeah.
But I played
Yeah.
both technically, but it was like I said, it's just one of those things where it's like, if I'm using keyboard, why can I not bind stuff to those keys? I should never ever
Yeah, it
have to
was
use that
weird.
radio menu ever. That did feel like it slowed down the game a bit.
Mhm.
But
I
you
agree.
know, it's whatever.
That's fair.
It's
I don't know, but
not
at a
that big
certain
of a
point
deal.
too, it did make you really think about what you wanted your loadout to be each time.
Yeah, my problem was it felt like a lot of the powers were just, hey, this is the correct answer. Not this is an answer and use whatever one you find the most fun. Especially in the fights was probably where it was the
That's
most
fair.
frustrating. Where it was like there's clear fights where, hey, this ability is the answer to this enemy. You have to use it or you cannot kill this enemy. And when there's 6 different enemies like that, so there's no universe that you can fight them all with one specific loadout, it's really awful. Also, especially for me as somebody who wanted to go fast, I always had the ball up because it was so convenient to just be on the ball constantly.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
just too slow without it. I can't handle it without a ball.
I will say this game could have just not had combat in it, and it might have been a better game. Uh,
I don't know if I'd agree. I actually didn't dislike the combat. Most of the combat I didn't dislike. The problem was, I will say towards the end, it's just like, okay, cool, I've solved everything. I'm just gonna roll past you and not care, which was a problem. I I I kind of liked the puzzly like Do you think no combat at all, or like at least have the combat like boss fights and
The bosses are fine, yeah.
I think it's the
Yeah.
generic
like-
trash like stuff that wasn't great. Yeah, I get you. I don't know.
Yeah, because like once you kind of solve the puzzle of the like you can do the judge is fun to take away his hammer the one time and then throw it at him, and then after the 10th time you do it, it's like, okay, yeah, I've done this.
I think I don't mind it
Yeah.
as long as it's like it's fun to have some of it, but I don't like hard gating you over it over and over and over again. Like every time that it's new stuff. So like I also don't mind having like a little bit to be like thematically there should be something attacking you.
Mhm.
But you're probably not too wrong, and a lot of the like generic fights that are just out and about in the mines don't really matter much.
They're just kind of there to prevent you from continuing exploring and aren't. They just feel
They're
really
speed
grindy.
bumps.
They're speed bumps, and they just felt like you just spam the buttons over and over until the things are dead for the most part.
Yeah, kind of. I get you.
Yeah. Shall we do it, friends? Shall we enter the spoiler zone?
Yes, because I have something at the top of my head that I really want to talk about that I think is actually
Okay,
very
all right.
relevant.
Here we are, spoiler
We've all been
zone.
warned. Spoiler zone.
Okay, here we are. We've made it past the spoiler barrier. We've broken through.
The
The spoilers are now in the crust.
So both of you played Psychonauts 1, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you consider the mines of Psychonauts 2 more or less memorable than the mines of Psychonauts 1?
I think the Minds of Psychonauts 2, because they're just designed way more like they just took the concepts from Psychonauts 1 and then had a bigger budget and better hardware and made them just more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, the only mine from one that fully sticks out to me for multiple reasons is
Milkman.
Milkman, because I had just the worst time getting into his brain because I forgot you could just throw the door. It was horrible. And yeah, then there was the Milkman. I mean, that was a psychedelic conspiracy trip of the 70s, and I loved it.
So
Milkman and the like lucha.
I was actually going to say
style.
those are my
okay.
two favorite ones of all the games. I think the thematically the original zones were better. I think the way they were designed gameplay wise, the second zones were better.
Definitely, and
I don't know.
honestly, those are the only two I remember though. Like they, in general, I think the ones from 2 were more memorable. That being said, yes, those 2 worlds might be my favorite overall, but I also haven't seen them in a very long time. So
My bigger problem is I feel like I liked all of the gameplay stuff of 2 for the mines better. It was more consistent, but I felt like they were well, I don't know. I guess there was the game show for 2. I loved the fact that there were so many
I
different
actually like the game show a lot.
Oh, I love the game show from 2. I feel like
it was great.
I remember I loved the first level, the way that you were kind of thrown into a boot camp right away. It just felt really, really good. I loved going into like this very specific square, put away, packed up mind. I loved the luchador one from the first one because it was just one of the coolest, most beautiful levels I think I've seen. And I honestly don't think any of the levels of the second one come even close to being as much as like that was one of my favorite levels I think of all time because of the way it was designed, the colors, the just everything about it.
Yeah.
But also like I loved Milkman, and I think a lot of people will always think of Milkman when they think of Psychonauts first. Is that level was the one that kind of captivated people and pulled them in with the humor and everything. But also at the same time, I still loved I just feel like I loved all of the levels from 1 versus like 2. I'm like, yeah, that one was really cool. And then like I think the problem was I liked the characters and I liked the writing. I didn't like the levels.
Fair. I think the levels. So like when I answered your question, I think it was more like the levels are more memorable because their aesthetics are better, but the actual design wasn't necessarily as good from a gameplay perspective. I would agree with that.
I guess the bigger thing I didn't necessarily find the aesthetics more interesting necessarily of the second one. Like, I think, and to be fair, maybe this is trying to be more respectful of like people and their like saying, hey, there's some people that literally are just conspiracy, and that's all that's going on in their head. Kind of seems like it might be a little mean, but at the same time, like, they did still say somebody's entire mind is a game show. I don't know. I'm wondering how much of that is a new approach to how they're handling things, because they definitely handled things a lot more carefully in 2. And I think that was the right choice.
Yeah.
Like, objectively. Correct. But at the same time, I do like all the different minds we were in from 1 more. Like, the fish people level. How can you not love, like, going around as a giant in Fishtopia? And it's things like that where
that was very good.
It feels like there was so much more craziness and wildness in the game. Like, it just felt like
this one does feel safer 100%.
Yeah, because like, oh yeah, am I like, other than the game show, I'm struggling to think of anywhere that felt, well, oh sorry, Helmet Full Bear. No, not Helmet Full Bear. Wait, no, it was his, right?
Which one?
Brain in the Jar, the psychedelic one. That's Helmet Full Bear.
Yeah.
His was probably the craziest one. And I think that's why, for me, it stands out, is easily probably the strongest brain of this entire game.
I actually didn't like that level very much from a design perspective. I thought it was kind of boring and long.
I get that.
The music festival one, I liked all the imagery and stuff with it, but
visually it was sweet.
Yeah, I agree that the level felt a little too long.
Thematically, I think it's the strongest one by far. I don't like remember. Oh wait, actually, hold up. I'm getting it. And I was about to say the one I thought felt way too long. I loved it though. Was Bob. I think it's Bob, right? The alcoholic. Who's married to Helmet Full Bear. No, the one.
Yeah. That one was quite long as well. The one with the flowers and the
moth, the flowers, the ocean. The sailing one. Yeah, it is sailing. Yeah. You're on a little boat. I love that level. I thought it was a fun level, but also, man, that felt like by far the longest level, and it just kind of dragged on for some sections.
Is this just gameplay of my stream? Because this is exactly what I spent like 30 minutes doing.
No, this is actually the game devs. It's great.
Okay, so do we have anything else we want to say along these lines?
For game development, I guess my biggest thing is I just wonder whether or not I feel like you're gonna have better memories of Psychonauts 1 versus Psychonauts 2 is gonna be like a fun experience that you enjoy, but not necessarily. I feel like it's easier for me to pin down like all of the old ones versus like a lot of the stuff. Nothing even as an individual level stood out for me for Psychonauts 2, other than petting the goat.
Oh yeah, being able to pet all the animals, or most of the animals, is great. You couldn't pet all of them. I was a bit disappointed in that. But I also tried to do, mostly when this game was like, hey, you want to do some nonsense? I was like,
yes, please.
Yes, yes, please.
It was great. Yeah. Did you finish the? So, Seskimo, you said you did finish everything. So you got the original costume back?
Yes, I believe so.
I'm
doubting myself because I looked up the trophies. I didn't complete all the trophies, but I'm pretty sure I got all of the figments and all of I know I didn't buy all the upgrades. I didn't purchase all the pins or get all the upgrades because that's part of the 2 achievements I'm missing.
Okay.
So I know I was very disappointed that most of the pins were just cosmetic and they wouldn't let me equip more than 3 at the same time.
I'm torn on how I feel about that.
Equip more, even more so than only being limited to 4 powers. I wish all the cosmetic stuff you could just equip.
The cosmetic stuff should have been on its own thing. I should have never had to sacrifice. I should never have to sacrifice anything that actually is gameplay versus like flavor.
100%.
And I do agree with you. You're fine. I think that's a good point to jump over to also. Because it does kind of go back to like, why even buy all the pins other than trying to get like the achievement for it? For reference, I don't even think I platinumed the game. Like, I think I'm missing achievements I collected literally
missing
everything, beat the whole game, and I still think I'm missing achievements. I'm checking that right
I'm
now.
missing 4.
Which I think is how achievements should be.
Not in a collectathon though.
Yeah, I think achievements should be basically separate from everything you do in the game. They should be encouraging you to do things that you wouldn't necessarily normally do, and or like specific challenges that aren't like present in the game. I don't think they should reward you for like just playing the game.
I lied. I did get every single. Oh, you know what? I remember this now. So you get to the end of the game. So there's an achievement for talking to Mia and to talking to Sasha. Which you actually you're 100% correct. It's the exact same thing of it's not actual direct impact. A lot of the achievements in this game weren't actually like just direct to do this. It's do this crazy little fun Easter egg on the side. Do this crazy weird, like some of it's collectibles, but it's like some of the weird collectibles that are like, why would you, which I think it's fair. On a collectathon, you're not expected to get 100% of everything. That's by design. It's supposed to just reward your exploration. So collectathons, I do think should always have something for 100% or like significant portions. But going back to what I was talking about. So one of the achievements is talk to Mia. If you beat the game, you can't do it anymore. So I had to start a brand new file to go back and talk to Mia.
Talk to her.
That's incredible.
I do think I thought that was kind of funny. Because I didn't want to bother her. She's like floating all zen, and I'm like, I don't want to bug her. Turns out,
you have to.
It's missable, but like, who cares? You can just start a new save or like load a save or whatever.
It literally took like 5 minutes to get back to. I also think missable achievements asterisk are kind of should happen. Like if I'm playing a game where there's a bunch of dedicated like paths that you can go down, and I don't take the right path, is that technically a missable achievement? Like I'm okay with that. I think that should happen. I think.
Sorry, go. You finish.
Well, the bigger thing, as I was going to say, is if you want to have things hidden and you want to have gameplay that actually cares about your decisions that you make, which don't get me wrong, for the most part, this game doesn't have it. But like, there's definitely plenty of other games where it's really cool to have things like that, and I think it's more than okay to hide achievements behind that. That's more of a general thing, not specific to this game. I do think like the Mia one was kind of weird, especially considering the only way you can miss it is if you don't do it until you beat the game, which is like literally if you want to 100% the game, you have to make sure you do something.
But
yeah,
I kind of like that it pushes you to like, it's like, oh yeah, talk to this character you like wouldn't normally talk to, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's like pushing you to do something that you wouldn't normally necessarily do and play, or that you didn't like realize to do and play. Yeah, so my thing with achievements is I think people are way too into achievements and put like way too much stock into achievements. Missile achievements are fine. You missed it. It's some points. Fine.
I mean, my problem is I don't like throwing away like there are people who are achievement hunters and that's their way they enjoy playing the game. I don't think it's fair to say, no, screw your way of playing the game. That would be my biggest like talk back to
like,
that.
Those people are going to play the game multiple times theoretically anyways, and so it's like they're going to get
it. As an achievement hunter, I agree that the most annoying achievements are the ones like, good job, you beat the level, and it's like, okay, I was already going to beat the level because I'm playing through the game.
Yeah, I will admit that I do think it's much more fun to have things like, I think you should still have ones that are good markers of that, because it's actually important for stats wise, like to have that. There are trackable points that I can do across a bunch of games. I actually enjoy having those for that express purpose. But for example, there's one in this game where if there's socks and sandals and the hate thing in Hollis's classroom, if you connect those, you get an achievement. And it's like, oh, well, it's a funny little thing that I would have done anyways, and I feel smart because I did it, kind of thing. And I'm totally cool with that.
Those are cool achievements.
I love those.
Those are how you should design achievements. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm also not mad if there's this random side quest that isn't mandatory at all for the game, which there are quite a few in this game. I don't mind that also being an achievement. I think it's like, it's not a problem to have naturally occurring achievements, but it's also a problem when those are your only achievements.
Yes. Also, I should mention the very first thing I did in this game was I got an achievement for like starting the game or whatever, and then immediately turned the achievement pop-ups off. So I have no idea what I even got.
That's more than fair. Again, that's actually one of the ones I really like that's a thing. Those are becoming more and more my favorite achievements because it tells me how many people don't ever play the games they buy. Which
Yeah, which is fair. Yeah, it looks like 14%
That's
of
fair.
people have beat the game.
That's so low. Well,
Yeah,
the better question is how many percentage even started it though? Because that's the other thing is I like seeing how many people beat it, how many people actually started it, because then I can kind of go between those two, and it's a much more interesting.
It looks like
gap.
63-ish%. Yeah, I should also mention a big reason for me turning off achievements is that like I know that like that there's definitely a part of my brain that's like you gotta get all the points, and I'm like and that's just me actively working against that because I don't have the time or really actually that's
Yeah.
the main problem with achievements is they really exploit parts of your brain. They're like you got to do the thing. It's like but I don't want to do the thing. You got to do the thing anyways.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't think there's ever been a time where I'm like, man, I really hate this game, but it's got achievements and I gotta get those achievements.
Yeah, like I think it's just a thing to be conscious of. Like I know that like I don't want to spend the time thinking about that because my brain will if I let it.
Yeah.
So I turn it off. But that's a personal choice that everyone can
Yeah.
make for themselves.
I'm definitely with you on like I don't like games hiding behind like achievements are the only purpose of this game kind of thing. I don't think that's great. Like the only thing that I kind of see it being more interesting is like puzzle games that throw that in there, like Zup. Don't get me wrong. Am I kind of bummed that their entire like it's just a puzzle game that's kind of okay? And I know that people are only spending $1 to get the achievements to use them in the Steam profile. Yeah, but at the same time, like somebody had to do it, and they still made an okay game that's like kind of a fun puzzle game. So I guess I'm not super mad. I just think like weak achievements that are kind of like completely pointless are more annoying. It's like
yeah, design your achievements better.
Yeah,
is the moral of the story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
The GMO door.
As you can guess, the video on play right now is the pre-build stuff. There's actually a zone or part of the zone that never existed, but it's I actually love seeing things like this to see how stuff was torn apart and built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this game a lot. I think that in general, playing it casually is going to be substantially. I think anybody who plays games like this casually will enjoy it. And even if you don't play tons of 3D platformers, there's there's so many different ways to do this game that it's fun enough that I think almost anybody would enjoy playing this game.
All right, what was everyone's favorite part of the game? I know my answer. This is a loaded question because I'm going to use it to springboard into what I want to talk about next. But so you all should answer first.
Okay.
That's also totally fair.
Perfect.
Do you have an answer? Because I can go if you don't yet.
I don't have an answer.
So if we're talking about just like as a whole, the zone that I loved the most was probably the questionable area, or the what is the name of it? The
questionable area.
Oh, it is the questionable area. The questionable area I find super fun and crazy. It's a great place to explore things and like just have fun little puzzles all around there. But if we're talking about actual levels,
I'm talking about just anything in the game.
Okay. Then probably the questionable area.
Say your favorite level too.
But my favorite level by far had to be the library one. Traveling through the books. Yeah. Although weirdly enough, I loved the first half. I didn't love the second half as much.
Yeah, I agree.
Jumping through the books was just so fun. The way they did the 2D level was great. It was a good time. That was probably one of the stronger level designs. I guess the bigger thing is it's strong. It's still safe, but it's strong and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That also that gave you the power that was like you got to create a man who you go.
I hate that power
for you.
I hate that power so much
because one, it's not it's in concept it's cool but like it doesn't do a lot in battle and just kind of annoying. And the other thing is it's a binary power, right? Like you use it to get past a thing and you use it in no other way except to solve a puzzle.
Fighting sometimes.
Well, you ignoring combat. The only time you use it in the overworld is to solve a puzzle, but you know exactly what that puzzle is.
Yep.
So it's not actually a puzzle.
Yeah, it's basically just a key. It's like you're essentially just getting a key.
Which a lot of powers felt like that in this game, which is just a really uninteresting way of doing powers in like Metroidvania games, stuff like that.
Which other ones did you feel were that way? Because I didn't I thought the mind link kind of was, but it was kind of fun with the way you could travel with it.
Yeah, that one was at least let you travel and let you go to like hidden areas, or like, and they used that well in the where you linked the concepts together. That was
Yeah.
good. I wish they had done more of that. Uh, the main ones I think of is like pyrokinesis. It's like, oh yeah, you burn the things. If there's a painting, you burn it, and there's something behind
Just
it.
burn it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess for
Like,
me it was
luckily, like,
fun to like burn a lot. They had a lot of burnable stuff that didn't need to be burnable, which was just like
yeah,
fun
and
flavor.
it was usable in combat, and it worked relatively well in combat. So like that one's like fine. But yeah.
That goes back to the other thing. The problem with the loadout is like, okay, when I need to be using the shooty laser beam one, and that's almost exclusively used for that. I think you use it like maybe a handful of times to do puzzles. Like there's very specific objects that are like, hey, you got to use the shooty thing to break this object. It's like, well, but why though?
Same with the slow thing. It's like, oh yeah, you have to slow down the thing.
But that was fun in combat.
That one's fun in combat, and that one at least it's like, oh, it's a timed mechanic, so there's some element of okay, it has some kind of purpose outside of just a key, but
for sure. I do think it was also kind of fun that one had the speed up and slow down, even though that was, I think, more for flavor. You tried to use the speed up a lot, but I don't think there was ever like a good spot for it.
Okay, wait. We're getting into my favorite part of the game territory. Scott, do you what's your favorite part of the game?
Honestly, I really liked exploring the questionable area. The exploration part was really fun. Trying to go around and do all of that.
The questionable area was like really, really strong.
Yeah, the exploration. My favorite level overall. Favorite aesthetic is the 70s level. The festival. What my favorite overall level is. Honestly, the first mission was pretty solid. I liked the casino a lot.
The first one was the dentist, wasn't it?
Technically, I don't count the dentist one because it's like a half a level. It's not really a full level.
That's fair. I think it was a really strong way to open the game, though.
It was the correct way to open the game by far.
Yeah.
I like that
casino
one,
level was good too. Casino level was relatively long, but didn't feel that long because you were like constantly changing environments and you were constantly changing what you were doing in those environments.
Yeah, the fact that there were like little mini games that you got to try out and do different things and then figure out how to break them was fun to me. Like I loved that concept of like, oh, this is how you do this stuff. Plus, they also made it impossible for you to accidentally not get the collectibles. If you didn't get the collectibles at the start, they didn't just disappear. They just got placed into the tunnels if you ever came back and revisited. Like it was good design.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like so, and like unlike the hippie 80s concert land, that one just felt like you were going in different places, but it all kind of felt similar because of the aesthetic. It like the aesthetic was great, but it all felt similar, and you weren't really doing different things.
Yeah,
that one.
It was like a little bit of well, no, actually, I would push back on that because there's one that was like literally just a little gauntlet boss fight section. There was one that was actually like traversing and having to solve different puzzles with the laser beam and the Pink Floyd references of making the different rainbow bridges, which I love that.
Those were really puzzles though, right? Like that was get to the end of a platform section and press a button.
That one specifically was just platform this way, do this stuff. But that one at least had more stuff to like explore and look through. I think that's the real thing at the end of the day is the exploration parts of this game that were actually like fully exploration felt really good. The problem was there were a lot of places where it felt like I couldn't explore, and I think those are what we all found the weakest by far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's like
so I guess. Okay,
go ahead.
You finish.
Okay.
You finish.
I think that's why exactly we think the questionable area is so good because you could just not go there. If you didn't go there, the game still plays the exact same. Well, I guess technically you have to walk through it once.
And like in like different order, like you can just go. It was open world done well. It was just like, oh yeah, just go wherever you want, and oh here's a cool little thing. Like we're not going to tell you it's even there. It's just you can go do this thing. It looks cool.
Yeah,
go have fun.
It was nice because there was like side quests that you wanted to do just because you wanted to do them. It had cool little collectibles that you can hunt and find everywhere that always felt like there were puzzles behind puzzles behind puzzles. Like there wasn't any of the things that were clearly this is the correct answer. Go do this.
It let you like create your own goals too, and then rewarded you for doing that. Like with the logs, it's like, oh yeah, maybe there's something up there in the logs, but you know what? I kind of wanted to just see if I can even do this.
Yeah.
And then it's like you do it, and it's like, oh yeah, there's something up there. Good job. It's like, oh, neat.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the strongest part about this game was that for that exact reason. Versus, like, don't get me wrong, as much as I liked 1, there wasn't really as much, at least as far as I remember, there wasn't as much exploration and story or like sandboxing. It was more like
it's not in the overworld, yeah.
Yeah, it was genuinely more go from level to level to level and experience these really cool individual zones that are I think that's part of the big difference is those individually were super strong because of that, because they had to be. You didn't really have this overarching like place to pull things together very well. Versus this had probably the stronger overworld by far. The overworld felt like a very alive place.
It felt a part of the game. Like
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jordan,
so,
what was your favorite?
My favorite thing is how much they reward you for just doing dumb and random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like as we mentioned earlier, I use the speed up power a lot. And there's like literally specific voice lines for using the speed up power in certain spots.
That's
that
great.
Like you can't get in any other, like in the what is Helmet's husband's name again?
Isn't it Bob?
Bob, yeah, I think it's Bob.
I think
in Bob's world, where you like you have to like carry his head around or whatever.
Yeah.
If you like speed it up while it's like on a thing that's moving, he'll start like screaming and saying it's like going too fast.
That's amazing.
Like it does like in a bunch of different places. Wonderful. It does that, and like you can just do like I used that in so many spots just because it like looked like it would be funny. Like I made the water wheel that was going out of control, instead of slowing it down, I made it even faster. It's funny. Or like the
yes, I did that one.
The merry-go-round in the in one of the last levels, in Grandma's Mine. It's like already going really fast, and you make it go even faster.
Dude, Quasi gets so mad with you. Or sorry, Queepy gets so mad with you.
It's so good. And just like you just do a lot of, I think I actually used it in one case too, like to solve a puzzle in a way that was like not at all intended, but like just the way the mechanics worked, you were able to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think that was the nice thing of like it felt like they tried to not on everything. Obviously they had some where it was very clearly this is it, but the good news, I think for the majority of the mainline stuff, other than the fighting, it wasn't like use this or you don't go forward. It was, hey, this is an option to go this way. Especially with how much the speed stuff was like kind of broken, which I'm not even mad about. Like I kind of loved that it was that broken, so you could cruise around. So oh, it was great. And it was like because of that, I didn't feel like this is the way you have to solve the main storyline. Now there's plenty of spots where it's like, oh hey, you want to get this collectible? I sure hope you have the right tool for this, and that's about it. And I do like I just like those, but at the same time, they didn't have so many of them that I felt like it was like, wow, this game is trash now, because every single thing is I just can't do anything until I get this one single tool.
Yeah. Which that's generally my problem with like Metroidvania style games like that, because that's kind of what it is. Like this game isn't a Metroidvania, but like it borrows that design from Metroidvanias. Like that I think that's what makes Metroidvanias bad, is when you get a thing and it's like, oh yeah, now you can unlock these doors. What? The power doesn't do anything else.
Just unlocks the doors. Yep. Why? No, I think you're helping me actually realize and describe exactly what I dislike about Metroidvanias in general. Because I still have yet to find a Metroidvania that like scratches an itch that I enjoy. Like every single time I try Metroidvanias, I just can't get into them. And maybe this is a helpful, like, part of it's probably I just don't like the 2D 2D like side scrolly shooty style. But I don't know, it's just been not my favorite genre ever.
The reason why the double jump in a Metroidvania is the best upgrade ever is because it's like it lets you go so many places, but it also just feels so good to use,
Yes.
and you can use it in
Mhm.
a bunch of different ways. Like
And wall
it's a
climbs.
functional
Or wall, like, slides and wall
wall
jumps.
climbs, speed
Yeah.
boost. Like in Hollow Knight, you get like a dash, but you can use that dash as a way to traverse and
Yeah.
go to new areas.
Yeah.
That will be, like, something I have to admit, I did think it's very relevant for that, and I think it there is some of those the problem is I feel like they did such a good job in the first one, and you can't just, like, keep re-adding abilities you had in Psychonauts 1 back to Psychonauts 2, because
Yeah,
otherwise you feel like
I
you've lost everything,
Yeah.
100%.
and I think that actually is part of the problem, 'cause I think Banjo-Tooie like, suffers from a very similar thing of, like, well, you can't get rid of all your moves, and the moves you got from
Yeah.
the first one were actually really good. Like, the way they designed them, the way that
Mhm.
they worked on certain things, like, it was already super obviously, this is a good move that you can use to solve certain puzzles, but it's also fun to have. Like, the best example is, like, the ball. Rolling on the ball is
The
such a
ball's
good
so
move.
good.
Feels so good.
It feels great. The looks and the animations are awesome. It just looks
Mhm.
hilarious. And at the same time, it's just like you can use it to break things, go faster, like solve so many different things. It's such a good move. That to me is
I
defines
I
good
definitely
Yeah.
moves.
used the bouncy ball where you like jump higher
Yeah.
uh, by charging it. I definitely used that to sequence break a few things, not like from the main story, but like I think in the questionable area.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. And
Oh yeah.
telekinesis is also pretty fun. Uh I guess that one's
Telekinesis,
another one from the start though, isn't it?
yeah, it's also I like telekinesis when you get the power that lets you just use it when you don't have objects around too. Feels really nice during combat,
Yeah.
especially.
That's nice.
Yeah. Oh, I realized there is one specific move that they added that I think was awesome and did a great job hitting all of our things. And we have to give them kudos for that at least. Uh,
Which one?
the one where you get to be in their mind and see how they see you.
Oh yeah, that one was very funny.
Yeah.
I I didn't use that one very much. It was funny when you used it, but it never felt like I never felt like I wanted to use it outside of the times where I was forced to.
I guess that's the big difference for
Yeah.
me is I definitely saw people and I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to see how they see me because I love the different like versions of Raz, the little jokes you get out of
Which is
it.
great. Yeah, no, I think that's great,
I think it
to
was
be clear.
their probably
Mhm.
their. I'm looking up right now what they did add because I don't know off the top of my head the new abilities that they added in Psychonauts 2. But I
Yeah.
think that's probably the best designed one. I don't love that they force you to use it in combat, but the way they did it was kind of really fun. So I'm not mad
It
about
was the
it.
best way they had to use it in combat. And those enemies were somewhat interesting when you had to like
Yeah.
when you had all other enemies on the board at the same time, but it's also sometimes annoying because you like sometimes just like miss the timing and had to wait for it to like go through its full attack cycle before you can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they only added 4 new moves, and that's the only good one.
Okay.
Because the new ones
Yeah.
were clairvoyance, mental connection, time bubble, and projection.
Hey, don't you talk about my time bubble like that?
Time
See,
Bubble. I love Time Bubble.
I liked the idea of it. I just it felt that was probably the other one that was pretty good. The problem is most of the fun and like crazy stuff is hidden behind that badge, and if you just don't buy that badge because oh, this sounds really bad, um,
Oh yeah, no. To be clear, my
it's
favorite part of
objectively
it
bad.
was that badge,
Yeah,
which is bad.
Yeah.
I used it a lot in combat though. The slow down version in combat I used a lot, but
yeah.
like I don't really
Mhm.
count that as be. I don't count that necessarily as a strong point in its favor
My
because
problem is there's already so many
you're
things
kind
you
of like terrible
needed
to
for
combat.
combat. Like most of the time, I just didn't use the time bubble other than when I was required to use it because it just was so annoying to swap between everything. It's like
Yeah,
I
my
don't.
typical combat
Ugh.
loadout was like the uh, telekinesis, the shooty one, and the slow one, and then like a fourth one, which is whatever I needed to actually kill the enemy,
Yeah,
like specifically.
and I think that was the biggest problem. Is
Yeah.
like it feels like you're required to have the Psy Blast to be able to kill anything. And so you, no matter what in combat, basically have to have Psy Blast. Then you also pretty much have to have whatever counters whatever you're facing, which can swap multiple times. So I almost always had to get into combat, immediately replace my ball movement, which is my favorite way of moving around the game too. I kind of just wish the ball movement wasn't tied to anything. It should have just been baseline, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like a button or something.
It should have been like your sprint. You should have been able to click down on your thumb.
L3 or something, yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that, which by the way, this should have been default. I do love that if you double jumped, you could turn on that automatically, or is it triple jump? You can turn it on to automatically glide. That should have been on by default, by the way.
I didn't know until the end of the game. And you're like, wait, why don't I just turn that on? I'm like, what?
Yeah, that should have been on by default. That is such a good setting. At least they had the setting. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally said, like, I wish I could do this. And you're like, you can.
Demon Hunters, man. Gotta have everything play like your Demon Hunter.
I do.
But yeah, I think that was the other thing that was like, I don't honestly think anybody wouldn't play with that. And I think if that was the other reason that you would have Levitate not on the button, or not on L3, right? Was because I think that's the original way you were supposed to do it, is double jump and then hit Levitate. I forget. I turned it off so fast that I was like, no, this is trash.
Yeah.
So that would have been, I think if I could do one single thing to change the game substantially, it would be that. Because that has huge rippling effects down the line of like, cool, now I don't feel as bad in combat. Cool, now I have just like more options to try and test out a bunch of different things. But here we are. I still think overall, great game. There's little like mechanic things that bothered me more than anything else, and I think they did play a lot of stuff safe.
I agree. Which is fine. I think it ended up well for them. So.
I think it still was a great game, and it wasn't. They still did an amazing job for how safe they played it. I miss like the crazy worlds from 1 quite a bit.
All right, now the real question is, now that you've finished both Day of the Tentacle and Psychonauts 2,
yes,
which is the better Tim Schafer game?
Psychonauts 2. It's not even close. Dude, point and click adventures are always trash. I'll be honest.
That was so bad. It was so bad.
Like, I love point and click games, but like at the same time, there are some really bad puzzles out there. It's kind of like the hit or miss with escape rooms, right? And the problem is point and click games have to have like 5 times more puzzles than escape rooms do. So like you're more likely than not to, like, I would say 1 in 5 escape rooms are pretty bad. Haven't you been playing with? That's exactly Day of the Tentacle.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah. Yep. I was joking about that because it's made by the same man.
Written by and programmed. That's the funny thing. I always never realized that he's actually a programmer. Although I feel like most game developers back then just had to at least have partial program knowledge, because you couldn't get anything done otherwise. True. Well, no. Now that we're able to get like teams that actually can break things down more.
On smaller teams, you definitely have to be doing at least 2 jobs if you're like you. On small teams, you can't just be a game designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think it's helpful to have like the game designer not be the programmer. Programmers have so much on their plate already. It's like I feel like first off, you need more of them than probably anything else anyways. Other than maybe art. It depends on your art assets and how hardcore you are on reusing things.
Yeah.
But like a good example is the amount of stuff that they use that's just gorgeous and beautiful in this game. They needed plenty of artists.
They made this custom gorilla in a lumberjack costume model.
It's so good
for right here and nowhere else.
It's so good.
Yep. It's very good.
Also, who's the best character and why is it Sam?
It's Sam's whale.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know. Sam's pretty great.
Sam's also great. Sam's a close second.
Yeah.
I think I actually just like everybody. I don't think there's a single character that I'm like, I hate this character.
Yeah, there's never a character that when they came, I'm like, this guy again.
I guess, okay. So, the main villain I hate because he's just super awful, but also, like, I don't hate him because he's, like, written poorly. I just hate him because he's awful.
Yeah.
He's just such an idiot. Really well. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's like somehow both an idiot and super annoying, but also like incredibly dense at the same time. Oh, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
He's not around for very long too, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
Yeah.
Well, especially because like you get to meet him at the start as like a generic throwaway character, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I was so confused at first. It's like, wait, why is this generic throwaway character played by like an insanely big voice? Like,
oh, is he like actually casted?
oh yeah, the first time you hear him, I'm like, is that guy who played the Hobbit, whose name I forget right now? And the answer is yes. By the way, they got a lot of
bad voice acting choice. Hilariously, they should have just casted some rando.
Well, to me, it'd be even funnier. Totally, Tim Schafer.
Way even more.
Well, does it though? Because like, let's be real here.
Yes,
Tim Schafer would 100% do that.
Hold on, Chekhov's guns exist. If I would have known that the male person, what Nick was voiced by a really big actor, I would have been 50 times more suspicious of it.
I mean, it kind of goes back to a lot of people don't recognize voices as well as they think they do, so it doesn't matter too much. But like, I would say yes if it wasn't Psychonauts, though.
No, I Chekhov's gun. Chekhov, you are introduced in a person that seems Yeah.
No. I get you, but again, it goes back to like, this kind of game is the exact type of game where I would expect them to just like introduce a character with some like crazy important voice and then never talk about it ever again. It's only weird because there's only like 2 big names in this game, at least as far as I'm aware. Like I can't. Well, sorry, no. The guy who plays the main character is actually a huge voice. I always forget about him. And then hilariously, they got somebody else who played in Invader Zim with him for the little paper guy. I'm like 90% sure. I'm making assumptions based off of how they sound to me. But the main character is the guy who played, if I'm not mistaken, Invader Zim. And the guy who played the little paper was the person who played Gur.
Oh, that's very good. I would believe that 100%.
Which I love that just from like the stupid, like, yeah, that character's supposed to be like an idiot sidekick. It's so perfectly fitting. But like a lot of the characters aren't like I would argue the only other one that I recognized out of the gate was Jack Black.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jack Black's a huge name.
Wait, which one was Jack Black?
Helmet Fullbear.
Helmet Fullbear.
Ah, yeah, okay.
That's part of why he has a singing number.
that would make sense. I did recognize the voice just because I'm bad at that, but
a lot of people are, so that's fair. Like, but
if I knew it was Jack Black, I would be like, oh yeah, that's Jack Black. Jack Black is also just in every Tim Schafer game ever, to be fair.
Not every. It's ever since he's got into
Brutal Legend, right?
Brutal Legends. It's like it's like that other director with Depp. Jack Black is Tim Schafer's Depp. Tim Burton has Depp. Tim Schafer has Jack Black. I'm so down for this. Please continue this. I need more of this in my life.
Great. Like, he's in Double Fine Adventure too.
I didn't actually know that. That's awesome. Is he a main character or is he just like a side character for funsies?
He's just like a side character.
Again, told you, Tim Schafer does that stuff. That's exactly why I was like kind of brushing it off.
He's like a relatively prominent side character.
That's fair. But yeah, that was the biggest thing for me was like, I mean, they had freaking Ozzy Osbourne in Brutal Legends, didn't they? Like stuff like that. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I guess that's kind of fair.
Okay, the shopkeeper. Yeah,
it's kind of it.
Ozzy Osbourne was Ozzy Osbourne in the game too. Like he played himself.
Okay, that's hilarious. I love that so much. I need to play it. No, I still have it. I really should. I own the game.
Like it's not like you don't need to finish it, but you should play it a bit. It's really funny.
But yeah, it's things like that where it's like it's fun. I love they did such a good job. The writing and just I think the personalities they were able to grab for this managed to just make it such a fun trip. Like it's part of like all the side stuff, right? Like I was super happy to spend all that time talking to Sam while she's just making pancakes. That has no impact on the rest of the game because she's freaking talking to animals and baking pancakes. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's all the side stuff in this is very, very good.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing at the end of the day is like, it's just so much fun exploring and getting to see everything going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we have way too much left to add though.
Yeah, does anyone else have anything else they want to say?
I think we're all good to go. But
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the final thing is play this game, but don't just feel like you're tied to one thing. Go and explore and have fun and do stupid things because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
We can't tell you how to live your life.
True. Also very true.
Yeah, we're not your real dads and magical wizard.
2 dads and a
And
magical wizard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. What do we have coming up next?
Omori.
What are we doing next?
Omori, right?
Omori?
Are we planning on doing Omori next, or do you think you're not going to have it done in a month?
If I'm done in a month, we can do that. Otherwise, we have Edith Finch that we can talk about. So.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I knew we had something else. My brain just forgot about what it was.
Yeah, Edith Finch will probably go really fast, and I still think we should try to pair it up with another game.
Yeah, because I think Edith Finch is going to be super quick and like there's not as much as I like that game. A game that is 2 hours has only so much I can like add to it. So
that's fair.
We might pair it with I think Umurangi, because Umurangi is like you don't really even need to beat the game to enjoy it and like understand what it's about.
I've not played it at all.
It's a game where you run around and take pictures.
Okay.
You could literally just play the first level and you'll pretty much have all the discussion points you can have. Because you might not enjoy it at all, which is actually something interesting to talk about. But that would be the easiest one in my opinion.
About Umurangi for a while.
I was gonna say, other than that, I don't know what else we have that's like a relatively shorter, quick thing. I right now my brain is like so excited and hyped up for Omori, but like it's a long game, so I'm not going to be surprised if it takes us quite a bit longer to get to it.
Yeah, you might want to do a second playthrough because it just might take us a hot minute.
I'm going to, but you cannot watch it.
How good your memory is. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. Anytime you play stuff, I don't watch that heavily, anyways.
But I meant like more so on this because of this game and because of what I would do if I played through a second time. You really need to not watch this. Well, actually, do either of you intend to ever do a second playthrough?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I haven't even finished my first playthrough.
It's unclear because I don't know.
That's fair.
The rest of the game.
That's the real answer is I'm going to be playing through a second time differently than how I played through the first. And I'm pretty confident that you guys either won't play through that a second time and do this. And so it's actually kind of fair for you to experience it through that. But, you know, here we are.
Here we are.
So I did find it really funny that I found several things that you've completely missed and didn't know about on my playthroughs.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't like go and explore every nook and cranny of the game.
Which is totally fair, yeah.
Like I had already spent 50 or so hours playing the game just to beat it.
Yeah. One game. Hey, come on, my guy. Just lock it. I'm at 431 hours.
Yeah, how many of those were played?
I couldn't tell you.
Oof. Oof. Also, technically, I spent a bunch of time not stabbing, not cutting her. That doesn't get counted because of the way I had to restart my save like 6 times.
Yes, that is fair.
I'm also just going to bring that up right now. Turns out that does absolutely nothing.
I mean, I really didn't think it would do anything.
Look,
I guessed as much.
Some games have like, and Omori seems like the exact type of game where like, yeah, if you just like do this and then also do this other thing in like 6 years in the future, but then also do this again while you're in the dream world, you're going to get like this one special item or something. Turns out, no, it literally does not do anything.
Just my base impressions of the overall themes of what Omori's trying to go through and how they're representing what I think they're representing. I'm not surprised to hear that not accidentally cutting someone. For me, it felt very accidental because I forgot I even had the knife.
Same.
Like,
which is the point.
Auto equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But I'm not surprised to hear that purposefully trying to
avoid it doesn't do anything.
That wasn't the point of the scene.
Well, yes and no. Like sometimes there's a lot of games that have hey, you shouldn't know this information. The only way you could possibly do this is if you know that information because you played it before. There are definitely games that have things that it's like, hey, you shouldn't know this, and you're doing something because you know something from the future. We're going to call you out on it.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like that was what it was trying to do.
Which honestly. It wasn't. You're correct. Yeah. So it was a complete waste of time and effort, but
you know, it was also a complete waste of time.
But science did it. They did it for science.
You were both there when I fought those 10 bears in a row last night, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was kind of there. I was like half awake.
You saw kind of it.
Well, the best part is it was literally after I had done that on my stream.
It was hilarious. Also, it took me like 40 minutes to do because I was doing it on level.
Oh yeah, it was a terrible decision.
Giovanni was not doing it on level. He did after he beat the game. And,
yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, it took me like 40 minutes to do. I highly recommend it. Do it. It's great.
But that being said, we better stop talking about this, otherwise we're gonna have nothing to talk about when we're actually on our episode.
It's the teaser for the episode.
I think we're going to have so much to talk about.
Yeah,
for that game,
for sure. Like, I'm very excited for it. It should be an absolute blast.
I'm glad you all liked it. From like because it wasn't like on either of your radars before, right?
No, it 100% was. It was on my wish list on Steam.
Oh.
It was okay.
It wasn't on my radar. But
sorry. Let me restate that. It simultaneously was and wasn't. The first time I saw it, I thought it was just a Earthbound clone, and I don't like JRPGs. The second time I saw it was tagged as horror, and I saw that it was also a JRPG clone. To which I said, "Oh, that sounds different and fun." Which is the whole reason I should probably play Earthbound at some point too. But here we are.
Yeah.
I don't like JRPGs, and if it looks like a generic, uninteresting JRPG, I'm just never going to play it. I like games that are marked as horror that are very clearly not the basic horror genre. If I'm playing a horror game and it's not a first-person game or a third-person game, man, I'm already way more hyped for that game than I ever was before for anything else I've played. Because most horror games are bad. Here we are, though.
Here we are.
But yeah, so that's something to look forward to. Either that's going to be next month, which it sounds like it's not because you guys don't think you're going to be able to getting through it, or is going to be... in which case, we might also just have a shorter episode next week, which is totally fine. We don't really have set times for any of these. Maybe it'll be good to have something that's a quick break. So that would be next month, the last Sunday of the month, which is the 30th.
It's the bonus Sunday.
Exactly. Did we think we wanted to try and do any of our other stuff? So like what we were trying to do this, I forget what bonus game we were trying to play. That was like a fun, like multiplayer game, all of us together playing this week.
Oh yeah.
For this month.
Speaking of which, the 30th, I am not in town.
Okay, so then did we want to do the 23rd instead?
Flying back.
That is fair. Would there be a better day for that? Doesn't Omori leave the Game Pass on the 30th? Oh, please tell me it doesn't.
Does it?
Omori doesn't, no.
Okay, we're fine then.
I'm playing on Switch, so that doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, you just straight up own it, huh?
I mean,
because I bought it before the game. I knew it was on Game Pass.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing with Game Pass that's nice is that
can always buy it for a discount before it leaves if we need to.
Yeah, which I've done for a few games because I've like half started them and like, oh, I want to try this game, and then
I want to actually finish it.
Yeah.
Let me look.
That was Spiritfarer.
So my October is pretty open. The 23rd is a bit awkward because there's a convention. I don't know if I'm going to be at it on Sunday, and I probably won't be, but it might be better to just schedule it for the 16th just in case.
So we want to try and do the normal GamePassPals on the 16th?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, that's awkward. Okay, there's no chance we can do Omori then if it's going to be that early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other option is next month we just do a half one and it's not actually like a full episode. Not like like an episode of Game Pass, but it's like one of the things where we're just playing something together, like experiencing something from Game Pass for the first time.
Yeah, I guess
like the special that we were supposed to do this month.
Yeah, we can even theoretically do both if they're both short.
That's true. What did we have for that though? There was a game we were specifically going to play, and I forgot what.
I don't remember.
It was something.
It was one of the ones that's marked as like special, like kind of co-op fun thing.
Yes, like I am disappointed that I is going off Game Pass because I do really like that game and think uh, everyone else would like it a lot too.
I'm not gonna speed run through I though. I just don't have the
Please
time.
don't. Yeah, please don't. You don't want to
Oh,
speed
man.
run through that game anyways. It's like a slow burn like murder mystery type thing. But it's like not pure visual novel. It has some decent gameplay sections, so I think Scott would like it too.
That's fair.
When does it leave?
The
The
30th.
30th.
So like 2 days, isn't it? 5 days.
5 days. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no shot I'm getting anything done this week for non-WoW.
I do own it on Switch though, so I can lend it to people.
Ooh, that might be an option down the line.
I own both.
Yeah.
On Switch, so.
Hold on.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be on the Humble Bundle next week. And I'll just buy it for $12.
Okay, I pulled up GamePassPals. Is it Space Lines from Far Out? Maybe.
Is
it
a $32 game?
I?
What?
It's
I don't know how expensive I is.
AI is $32.
Yeah, don't buy it for that. It goes way cheaper than that. Like it was like $7 for Switch digital.
Oh wow!
If
I would have known that, I probably would have bought it for that much.
I told you.
Did you? Okay. You told me, but I also didn't connect the dots that this was leaving. We had that choice.
It wasn't leaving at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even on Game Pass at that point. So.
Right. So we have Turbo Golf Racing, which was like the silly little golf ones, and wait, is Space Lines from Far Out? I think that's the one I definitely wanted to do. If that's the one where like traveling.
It was that one or Ember, I think.
I've played Ember before, but I'm super down to play with you guys too. So it sounds like we have something that ish is what we can. Oh, we can also do Paw Patrol Grand Prix.
We could also do Paw Patrol Grand Prix.
We could try both. We could do both Paw Patrols.
Oh no!
If we really dislike ourselves. Hold on. Let me.
There's 3 now.
This is the new one. Yeah, this one gets added the 29th.
When is? Sorry, I'm also. We can also talk about this off stream, but I'm also dog sitting a couple weekends in October, so
that's totally fine. I've considered at this point that the Game Pass Pals is done. Like the actual episode, not like the whole existence of Game Pass Pals, but the episode is done.
Thank you, friend.
No, game over. No more Game Pass Pals.
Although
GG.
Cyclone's so excited about bi-weekly Game Pass Pals.
I appreciate that. Trust me, I would do a bi-weekly one, but there's no shot. Like you would have to be basically playing games full time to be able to do bi-weekly Game Pass Pals. It's already difficult enough to get monthly ones.
Games though, but yes.
I mean, if we wanted to, but then like the problem is, if we don't have any short games left, we're just out of luck.
They're adding games so often.
Yeah.
There's always another short game.
And also, technically speaking, we're not tied to only ever doing stuff that's on the Game Pass. But, all right.
Yeah. If we want to be called liars.
I mean, technically, it doesn't say Xbox Game Pass Pals. I can include, what are you?
That's
Snake?
true. It just
Snake?
does say Game Pass Pals.
What are you up to down there, Snake? Are you causing chaos? Are you destroying Tokyo?
Is Akihabara?
Yeah, potentially.
Is Akihabara not part of Tokyo?
That is in Tokyo.
Okay, I thought Akihabara was like
it was like specifically Akihabara.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Akihabara is just like a little city lit. It's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's the term.
Yeah.
City lit neighborhood, same terms, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so
I'd be so down to do Space Lines or the other one. All of those sound fantastic. So it sounds like
the 9th and the 23rd are my best days.
Well, this is awkward.
The 9th it is.
Okay, cool. So no standard Game Pass Pals next month, but we're doing on the 9th instead. So 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. Hey, look, bi-weekly.
Look, you got there, Psycho.
Listen.
We're doing it just for you.
Listen.
But only once, potentially.
And also not doing it 2 weeks after that, so.
We weren't going to talk about it. All
right.
Cool. And we're doing Edith and what's the other one?
No, we were doing neither. We're doing like the
We're doing
co-op
the
stuff.
special.
Yeah, we're doing specials.
was
We're doing like
thinking-
co-op games and stuff like that.
Beautiful. Co-op bonanza.